announcing the Ladies and gentlemen, mga kaigsuunan, announcing the arrival of our guest of honor, Executive Secretary Salvador C. Medialdea, Office of the President and Chairperson of the National Quincentennial Committee. Accompanied by Dr. Rene R. Escalante, Chairperson of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines and Executive Director of the National Quincentennial Committee. He will be welcomed by Lapu-Lapu City Mayor Junard Ahong Chan and Commander, Central Command, Lieutenant General Roberto T. Angkan. We shall now proceed with the unveiling of the historical markers of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines for Ferdinand Magellan, Mactan, as part of the route of the first circumnavigation of the world. At the count of three. 1, 2, and 3. His Excellency Jorge Moragas, Ambassador of Spain in the Philippines, and Honorable Simon Elcioson, Honorary Consul of the Republic of Portugal in Cebu, will lead the unveiling ceremony to be witnessed by the National Historical Commission of the Philippines Deputy Executive Director Alvin R. Alcid and Lapu-Lapu City Lone District Representative Paz Coro Radaza. Ladies and gentlemen, the historical marker for Ferdinand Magellan. For the unveiling of the Mactan historical marker, it will be led by Executive Director Al Ryan Alejandre of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, Vice Mayor Celso Sitoy of the City Council of Lapu-Lapu, together with Chairperson Cindy King Chan of Lapu-Lapu City Tourism, Cultural and Historical Affairs Commission, and Mactan Barangay Chairman Evaristo Di Haico Jr. At the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Ladies and gentlemen, the historical marker for Mactan. Let us all witness the unveiling of the historical marker for Lapu-Lapu. The chairperson of the National Quincentennial Committee and Executive Secretary Salvador C. Medialdea, together with Chairperson of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines and Executive Director of the National Quincentennial Committee, Rene R. Escalante, will lead the unveiling. They will be joined by Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles, Lapu-Lapu City Mayor Junard Chan, and the AFP Central Command Commander, Lieutenant General Roberto T. Angkan, together with Presidential Assistant for the Visayas, Secretary Michael Dino. At the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Ladies and gentlemen, the historical marker for Lapu-Lapu. We'd like to request the members of the media to please clear the area. May we request our guests to proceed to the flagpole area for the flag raising ceremony. Our guest of honor, Executive Secretary Salvador C. Medialdea, will be joined by Lapu-Lapu City Mayor Junard Ahong Chan, Commander, Central Command, Lieutenant General Roberto T. Angkan, Philippine Army, to be witnessed by NHCP Chairperson and NQC Executive Director Rene Escalante, Senator Bongo, Presidential Assistant for the Visayas, Secretary Michael Lloyd Dino, Presidential Spokesperson, Secretary Harry Roque, Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles, His Excellency Jorge Moragas, Ambassador of Spain in the Philippines, Executive Director Al Ryan Alejandre of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, Lapu-Lapu City Lone District Representative Paz Coro Radaza, PhilPost Postmaster General Norman Fulgencio, Lapu-Lapu City Vice Mayor Celedonio Sitoy, Madam Cindy Chan, Lapu-Lapu City Tourism, Cultural and Historical Affairs Commission Chairperson. Honorable Simon Sioson, Honorary Consul of the Republic of Portugal in Cebu. National Historical Commission of the Philippines Representative Executive Director Alvin Alcid. Mactan Barangay Chairman Evaristo Dihayco Jr. Commander Air Mobility Command Major General Simon Felix Jr. Philippine Air Force. Commander Naval Forces Central Commodore Ernesto Baldovino, Philippine Navy. Commander 53rd Engineer Brigade, Brigadier General Gerardo Catindoy, Philippine Army. Wing Commander, Tactical Operations Wing Central, Brigadier General Lito Villanueva, Philippine Air Force. Wing Commander, 220th Airlift Wing, Colonel Bienvenido Casaclang, Philippine Air Force. Deputy Wing Commander, 205th Tactical Helicopter Wing, Colonel Moises Micor, Philippine Air Force, and other unit commanders. Mga Kaigsuunan, the Philippine National Anthem, to be played by the Air Mobility Command Marching Band. We shall now proceed with the wreath-laying rites to be officiated by the Naval Forces Central Ceremonial Owner Element. Executive Secretary Salvador Michaldea will be accompanied by Lapu-Lapu City Mayor Junard Chan and AFP Central Command Commander Lieutenant General Roberto Angkan. Please remain standing for the exit of colors. This concludes the wreath-laying ceremonies. We shall now proceed to the presentation of the quincentennial stamp and first day cover of the Philippine. We shall now proceed to the presentation of the quincentennial stamp and the first day cover of the Philippine Postal Corporation. It will be presented by PhilPost Postmaster General Norman Fulgencio to Executive Secretary Salvador Mijaldea. The postage stamp is the fourth quincentennial stamp released by PhilPost in solidarity with the 2021 quincentennial commemorations in the Philippines. Thank you very much, Postmaster General Fulgencio. NHCP Chairperson Rene Escalante will now present to Executive Secretary Salvador Mijaldea the winning entry to the recently concluded Lapu-Lapu National Monument Design Competition. It was designed by architect Rex B. Sicat Jr. of Tarlac City. This will serve as reference of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines in erecting the proposed Lapu-Lapu National Monument to be enshrined in the planned Lapu-Lapu Memorial Shrine and Museum. May we invite Executive Secretary Mijaldea to witness the virtual launching of the future Lapu-Lapu Memorial Shrine and Museum to rise here at the Liberty Shrine. At this juncture, we shall now witness a humble homage of the Armed Forces of the Philippines to Datu Lapu-Lapu. May we request our guest of honor, Executive Secretary Salvador C. Mijaldea, to proceed in front of the stage for the Pass in Review. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now start the Pass in Review of the Central Command, Armed Forces of the Philippines, your peacemaker in the Visayas. The Central Command, with its primary mission of conducting prompt and sustained joint air, sea, and land operations, including military operations other than war. Under this command are the 5 major component units: namely the 3rd Infantry Division, Spearhead, stationed in Camp Macario B. Peralta in Hamindan, Capiz. The 8th Infantry Division, Stormtroopers, in Camp Vicente Lucban in Kadaugan City, Samar. The Naval Forces Central in Naval Base Rafael Ramos, Lapu-Lapu City. The Tactical Operations Wing Central in Brigadier General Benito N. Ebuen Air Base, Lapu-Lapu City, and the 53rd Engineer Brigade in Camp Lapu-Lapu, Cebu City. Approaching you are the proud men and women of Central Command under the leadership of Lieutenant General Roberto T. Angcan, Philippine Army. Leading the parade element is Captain Ian Ampaso, Philippine Army, and his executive officer, Captain Cesar Gutering, Philippine Army. Followed by the Air Mobility Command Marching Band. The audience is requested to please stand for the passing of colors. You may be seated as soon as the colors have passed. Approaching is the Philippine Army contingent, serving the people, securing the land, led by First Lieutenant Romel Arnado. We now have the Angels of Mercy and the Guardians of the Philippine Skies, the Philippine Air Force, led by Second Lieutenant Erwin Sabu. And from the Protectors of the Philippine Seas and the first line of defense to uphold our territorial integrity, the Philippine Navy, led by Ensign Sherwin Berona. Passing in front of you are some of the military assets of the Central Command. The Task Group of Cebu, Bohol, and Siquijor with AFP's KM-450 multi-purpose vehicle, Simba Fighting Vehicle, and V-150 Armored Personnel Carrier of the 6th Lightweight Armory Company. The vehicle is used to transport and insert troops in the battlefield. Next is the 105 Howitzer Cannon. This artillery equipment is used for indirect fires to support our maneuvering units in the battlefield. The 53rd Engineer Brigade is taking lead in community support programs and layout builders of not just physical structure, but hope and dreams for our people in the communities. On board on the KM-450 is the personnel from the Special Operations Wing and 505th Search and Rescue Group. The Naval Special Operations Group, also known as the Philippine Navy SEALs. They are the smallest elite unit of the Philippine Navy, trained in special operations, sabotage, psychological, and unconventional warfare. This is our Central Command, Armed Forces of the Philippines, the descendants of the brave and mighty Lapu-Lapu, our defender, our protector, our peacemaker in the Visayas. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 500th anniversary of the victory at Mactan. To deliver his welcome remarks, please welcome Lapu-Lapu City Mayor Junard Ahong Chan.
Executive Secretary Salvador Midaldea, Senator of the Republic of the Philippines, Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo, President Spokesperson, Secretary Harry Roque Jr., Cabinet Secretary Carlo Alexi Nograles, Office of the Presidential Assistant for the Visayas, Secretary Michael Lloyd Dino, Chairman of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, Dr. Rene Escalante, National Commission for Culture and the Arts Executive Director Al Ryan Alejandre, Philippine Information Agency Director General Ramon Kualuping III, Postmaster General Norman Fulgencio, Lapu-Lapu City Representative Paz Coro Redaza, Commander Central Command Lieutenant General Roberto Angcan, Department of the National Defense Undersecretary Rinaldo Mapagu, Office of the Presidential Assistance for the Visayas Undersecretary Gerard Anthony Gonzalez, Department of Interior and Local Government Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya, Iloilo City Representative Julene Baronda, Spanish Ambassador to the Philippines, His Excellency George Sanchez Moragas, PNP Regional Director Brigadier General Ronnie Montejo, NAV Force Commander Commodore Ernesto Baldovino, members of the Diplomatic Corps, fellow local chief executive, men in uniform, Teacher Chair and the First Lady of Lapu-Lapu City, my better half, Sandy, barangay officials, colleagues in the government service, friends from the media, fellow Filipinos, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. April 27, 1521, exactly 500 years today, on this very shore, Lapu-Lapu and his men successfully repulsed foreign aggression. In the famous Battle of Mactan, now commonly referred to as the victory at Mactan, this life-size statue, standing tall and proud, immortalized the gallantry of Lapu-Lapu in winning the epic battle. It is a constant reminder of his heroism after he showed to the rest of humanity that our drive for self-determination as a people is far more powerful than the cannons and barrels of our aggressors. As grandchildren of Lapu-Lapu, we Opunganons are forever grateful to the President Rodrigo Roa Duterte for elevating Lapu-Lapu to a greater standing among the pantheon of the Filipino heroes, placing him among the ranks of Dr. Jose Rizal and Gats Andres Bonifacio, after he, as the President would say, was unceremoniously forgotten by history and relegated to a mere fish species eaten daily, either fried or escabeche. Being the prominent face on the 1 centavo coin during the 70s, Lapu-Lapu was finally accorded the rightful honor befitting a true national hero, after Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas issued 5,000 commemorative banknote and medal in his honor. On June 29, 2018, the President signed into a law RA 11040 officially declaring April 27 as Lapu-Lapu Day, a special non-working holiday for the city of Lapu-Lapu and a special working holiday for the rest of the country. The President also signed the creation of the Orders of Lapu-Lapu to honor officials and personnel of government, as well as private individuals in recognition of their invaluable service in support to the President's advocacies. While Lapu-Lapu's greatness was heralded by the heroes that came after him and inspired the Katipunan in their quest for independence, the Philippine National Police and the Bureau of Fire Protection have prominently placed Lapu-Lapu profile on their official seals as a constant reminder of his greatness and a source of inspiration. To highlight Lapu-Lapu's greatness in the international stage, a street in San Francisco, California, is ceremoniously named after him. To afford Lapu-Lapu with the highest honor, the late Congressman Manuel A. Susa of the 6th District of Cebu, representing Opunganons, sponsored the bill converting the municipality of Opon into a city of Lapu-Lapu, which President Carlos P. Garcia formally signed on June 17, 1961, Republic Act 3134, known as the City Charter of Lapu-Lapu. We are therefore lucky to bear witness today this historic event as we relive the rich and the colorful history of our forebear 500 years ago, a civilization characterized by an established system of government, commerce, and religion, a proud past contrary to account of Western historians that we were a bunch of nomads and uncivilized natives. As a matter of fact, we were discovered by nobody, while Portugal and Spain were on a race to establish new territories. Our great ancestors already engaged actively trading with the rest of the world. How lucky we are indeed, for none of us will be around the next time celebration of this magnitude. While we stage in the next 500 years, let us therefore cherish this once-in-a-lifetime moment as we reconnect ourselves with the past and revisit the glorious day of April 27, 1521. May we be inspired by the victory of Lapu-Lapu and his men, and as we combat this modern-day enemy, that is COVID-19. The fight against our common invisible enemy has produced modern-day Lapu-Lapu, and every single one of us, by consciously doing our share of wearing face masks to stop the spread and save one another from getting infected, is by themselves a simple act of heroism. We also share this day to the brave frontliner who stood up to the challenge, risking their lives to protect and save lives of others. As the President aptly said, and I quote, "May this momentous occasion inspire every Filipino to embrace our national identity by embodying Lapu-Lapu heroism as we face the challenges ahead." In behalf of the Opunganons, the proud descendants of the mighty chieftain of Mactan, I am humbled by this distinction afforded to him. by this present administration, a befitting honor that has eluded Lapu-Lapu for quite some times. As we celebrate his heroism, let us keep the Filipino pride constantly burning by living a life of service and a compassion for others. In summary, the President has this to say: let us all become worthy heirs to their legacy, to that we may be leave behind to that succeeding generations of the Filipinos, a national and a nation that they will also proudly give up their lives for. Having said that, as the mayor of this historic city, a city named after his great chieftain, I welcome you all to the city of Lapu-Lapu, the cradle of independence, the bastion of freedom, and the birthplace of Filipino heroism. Welcome to the 500 years commemoration of the victory at Mactan. Mabuhay ang diwa ni Lapu-Lapu. Mabuhay ang Pilipino. Daghang salamat.
Thank you, Mayor Junard Aong Chan, for the welcome remarks. On February 26, 2021, the National Quincentennial Committee announced the 12 winners of the Quincentennial Art Competition. 3 of these are Cebuanos. Today, the nation pays tribute to these 3 Cebuano artists, as well as to the grand prize winner of the Lapu-Lapu National Monument Design Competition. May we invite Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdia and NHCP Chairperson Rene Escalante to award the winners of the Quincentennial Art Competition and the Lapu-Lapu National Monument Design Competition. Architect Rex B. Sikat Jr., 26 years old, from Tarlac City. The grand prize winner of the Lapu-Lapu National Monument Design Competition. His work is titled The Watch of Mactan. Architect Sikat shall receive 300,000 pesos, a certificate, a Lapu-Lapu figurine, and a bag of quincentennial souvenir. We shall now recognize the 3 of the 12 winners of the Quincentennial Art Competition from Cebu. Each shall receive the minor prize of 50,000 pesos, a certificate, a Lapu-Lapu figurine, and a bag of quincentennial souvenirs. Mr. Darby Vincent Alcoseba, 37 years old, from Lapu-Lapu City. His entry is titled Magnanimity under the theme Magnanimity. He will be represented by fellow artist Jean Govinda. Mr. Jesus De Rona, 72 years old, from Cebu City. His entry is titled Triumph of Lapu-Lapu under the theme Sovereignty. Mr. Ariel Caratao, 39 years old, from Lapu-Lapu City. His entry is titled Ang Mahinungdanong Pag-abot sa Balaang Bata, or the historic arrival of the child Jesus under the theme Legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, the winners
winners of the Quincentennial Art Competition and the Lapu-Lapu National Monument Design Competition. The National Quincentennial Committee will conduct localized awarding ceremonies for 8 other winners of the Quincentennial Art Competition. 4 grand prize winners shall receive 500,000 pesos each. On this day, 500 years ago, our ancestors on this very island of Mactan, led by one of its rulers, Datu Lapu-Lapu, defied foreign intrusion. The Battle of Mactan was fought and our ancestors emerged victorious. More than 300 years later, the Filipino political thinkers, reformists, and patriots revisited Lapu-Lapu and saved him from oblivion and obscurity. The likes of Jose Rizal, Mariano Ponce, and Juan Luna wrote, memorialized, and painted Lapu-Lapu as part of the Filipino consciousness and shared heritage. In 1895, Emilio Jacinto, the brains of the Katipunan, reminded the Filipinos that in the veins ran the blood of Lapu-Lapu. The Philippine Revolution against Spain was waged the year after, and in 1898 in Cavite, gave birth to the Filipino nation. On the very day of the proclamation of Philippine independence, the Filipino revolutionaries evoked once again the memory of Lapu-Lapu and the Battle of Mactan. Our regard to the victory at Mactan is a legacy of the Philippine reform movement and revolution. It is a perpetual reminder that we are a triumphant people, more so in this time of pandemic. At this juncture, the chairperson of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines and the executive director of the National Quincentennial Committee, Rene Escalante, will deliver his message.
Our guest of honor, Chairman Salvador Medialdea of the National Quincentennial Committee, Senator Bongo and other members of the Philippine Legislature, His Excellency Jorge Moraga Sanchez and other members of the Diplomatic Corps, Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles and other Cabinet Secretaries, Secretary Michael Loidino and other local executives of Cebu, our host, Mayor Junard Chan, and other local officials of Lapu-Lapu City, General Roberto Angcan, and other men in uniform, Postmaster General Norman Fulgencio, Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya, and other NQC members, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This site, the Liberty Shrine, has witnessed 5 major events in the last 3 years. The first one was on June 12, 2019, when the nation included the shrine as one of the key sites of Philippine independence celebration. Next was on December 14, 2019, for the 500-day countdown to the 500th anniversary of the victory at Mactan. Then in the midst of the pandemic, we had a modest 1-year countdown last April 27, 2020, dedicating the event to our frontliners. It was followed by the 100-day countdown on January 17, when the shrine was declared one of the sites where the Philippine flag should be permanently displayed. And the 5th one is today, the D-Day of the 2021 Quincentennial commemorations in the Philippines, whose reckoning is the 500th year anniversary of the victory of Lapu-Lapu and his men in the Battle of Mactan. It is just unfortunate that because of the pandemic, we have to scale down our activities and limit the number of persons who will be allowed in this venue. A lot of high-ranking officials were supposed to attend this big event, but because of the risks involved in attending gatherings like this, they opted to witness the occasion virtually. For the past 1 month and a half, the NQC was very busy in commemorating numerous events connected with the quincentennial of the first circumnavigation of the world. We started in Samar last March 16, and the event we highlighted there was the first encounter of our ancestors with the members of the Magellan Elcano expedition. The quincentennial message we conveyed centered on the generosity and hospitality of our Waray ancestors, who extended their help to the starving, undernourished, and dying crews of the expedition. According to Antonio Pigafetta, the official chronicler of the Magellan expedition, our ancestors gave them fish, a jar of palm wine, bananas, and coconuts. These offerings may be regarded as very modest, using modern standard, but good enough for the visitors to regain their health. I mentioned in my message there that this is the major contribution of the people of Samar to the expedition. If they drove the newcomers away from their island, or worse, if they displayed hostile attitude towards them, the expedition might have ended in Samar and the circumnavigation of the world would not have been completed. The two major activities of the quincentennial commemorations were spearheaded by the Catholic Church. The first one was held in Limasawa, Southern Leyte. There we commemorated the 500th anniversary of the first Easter Sunday Mass that happened on March 31, 1521. The second major activity of the Catholic Church happened just 13 days ago, and it was held in Cebu City. We joined the Cebuanos in commemorating the first baptism in our country and the giving of the Santo Niño to Doña Juana, wife of Braha Humabon. This is a very important event to remember because a lot of people today consider the Santo Niño de Cebu as the most popular and enduring legacy of the Magellan Elcano expedition. I am not sure if you have noticed that in the three events that I mentioned, the members of the Magellan Elcano expedition and our ancestors had very friendly and cordial interactions. Our ancestors gave them food in Samar, attended Mass in Limasawa, and had themselves baptized in Cebu. How come when they reached this place where we are now, the encounter turned bloody and resulted to the death of the Captain General and 8 other members of the expedition? What happened in Mactan 500 years ago is known to most of us Filipinos. What I would like to highlight today is the fact that we Filipinos are generous, hospitable, and peace-loving. But if somebody will threaten our sovereignty and disturb our political and social equilibrium, we are ready to defend our country. This is what happened in 1521 against Magellan, in 1896 against Spain, in 1901 against the Americans, and in 1941 against the Japanese. Because of the significance of the Battle of Mactan, the National Quincentennial Committee has decided to make it the main event of the government-sponsored 2021 Quincentennial commemorations. We are also taking this opportunity to elevate the level of recognition of Lapu-Lapu from being a local hero to a national hero. It is unfortunate that we know very little about Lapu-Lapu's personal life. We don't know when and where he was born. We have no reliable information as to his parents and whether he had wife and children. Similarly, we have no idea what happened to him after the Battle of Mactan, and we are also clueless as far as his death is concerned. The account of Pigafetta is also silent as to his actual participation in the Battle of Mactan. Pigafetta and other survivors of the expedition did not categorically state that Lapu-Lapu personally participated in the battle as combatant. Likewise, there is no first-hand account that states that it was Lapu-Lapu who delivered the fatal blow that ended Magellan's life. But being the chieftain who led the defense of Mactan, credit is given to him because of the principle of command responsibility. A lot of what we know about Lapu-Lapu outside the account of Pigafetta are products of the imagination of some authors and artists. Even the statue of Lapu-Lapu that we have at the back of the stage and the one in Luneta Park are not faithful representation of our hero. I would like also to disclose that even the photo of Lapu-Lapu in the recently launched 5,000 peso banknote, even if it was initiated by the NHCP, is not a historical photo but only an artist's rendition of Lapu-Lapu. As I mentioned earlier, one of the objectives of the NQC in commemorating the quincentennial of the Battle of Mactan is to memorialize Lapu-Lapu's heroism and popularize his contributions to our country. Last January 18, 2021, the NQC, led by our chairperson, Executive Secretary Salvador Midaldea, were in Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Central Office to launch the Lapu-Lapu 5,000 peso commemorative banknote and medal. Lapu-Lapu used to be featured in 1 centavo coin, which we don't have anymore in circulation. But now, he is featured in the highest denomination in Philippine non-circulating currency. We are also working with Congress for the renaming of the two airport terminals here in Cebu as Lapu-Lapu Domestic Airport and Lapu-Lapu International Airport, respectively. The measure passed the House of Representatives already, and we are expecting that the Senate version of it will be finalized anytime this year. The NQC is also proposing to build a museum in this very place where we are now. It will showcase Lapu-Lapu and other heroes of the Battle of Mactan. Finally, we are grateful that President Duterte issued Proclamation number 1128 declaring 2021 as the year of the Filipino pre-colonial ancestors. He also declared April 27 as a special working holiday and encouraged all national and local government agencies to come up with their own activities honoring Lapu-Lapu and other heroes. We are hopeful that through these undertakings, Lapu-Lapu's heroism will be ingrained and remain in the memory of the Filipino people. As I keep on saying in many of my speeches, we are expecting that every time we hear the word Lapu-Lapu in the coming days, what will come into our mind is the historic leader of Mactan who defended our country against the invaders and not the delicious fish that we eat in Chinese restaurants. Happy Lapu-Lapu Day, and thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you, Chairperson Escalante, for the message. We shall now hear the message from Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo.
Executive Secretary Salvador Mijaldea, Dr. Rene Escalante, Secretary Michael Loydino, Secretary Harry Roque, Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles, Congresswoman Paz Radasa, Mayor Ahong Chan, Vice Mayor Celsi Sitoy, Vice Mayor Michael Rama of Cebu City, Mayor Melchor Petracorta of Limasawa, Southern Leyte, Lieutenant General Roberto Angcan, Police Brigadier General Ronnie Montejo, Commodore Ernesto Baldovino, His Excellency Moraga Sanchez, Ambassador of Spain, Consul General Fernando Heredia Noguer, Mr. Luis Morales Fernandez, First Secretary, Consul General Anton Perdices, Honorary Consul of Spain, Consul General Toshihide Kawasaki, Consulate General of Japan in Cebu, Amaya Fuentes Milani, Embassy of Spain, Deputy Head of Mission, U.S. Consulate, other guests, sa akong mga kaigsoonang mga Cebuano, mga Bisaya, maayong buntag sa inyong tanan. Mananghid lang ko, magkambyo lang ko, mas kay lisod kayo, magstorya ani. Pero sunod sa atong health protocol, kinahanglan ta magmas. Maayong buntag sa inyong tanan. Sa mga Bisaya, kami ni Presidente Duterte, pareho man ta, kami mga taga Mindanao, pero halos pareho lang ang atong inistoryahan. Pero kinahanglan ko mag-Tagalog kay para masabtan po sa atong ubang mga bisita. Isang karangalan po para sa akin na makasama sa ating komemorasyon na ika-500 anibersaryo ng ating tagumpay sa labanan sa Mactan. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa lahat ng mga nag-organisa at nakilahok para maging matagumpay ang pagdaraos ng makasaysayang pangyayari na ito. Mahalaga po na tayo ay magbalik tanaw sa ating kasaysayan, ngunit mahalaga rin na may pagtutuwid tayo sa nakaraan upang maunawaan natin ang kasalukuyan at lakas loob nating harapin ang ating kinabukasan. Kami po ni Pangulong Duterte ay mga Mindanawan, kami rin po ay mga Bisaya, meron din po tayong dapat ipagmalaki. Batay sa isang bersyon ng kasaysayan na pag-aaral ng dalubhasang si Abraham Ijirani, ang dating East Kingdom of Sulu na siyang nagbabantay sa 707 islands ng buong Pilipinas ay ang nag-utos kay Lapu-Lapu na magmasid kung bakit may mga dayuhan na dumaong sa ilang isla natin kasama na ang Mactan. Mula sa Sulu, nagsama ng maraming mangdirigma ang tausog na si Lapu-Lapu sakay ng bangka. Sinalubong sila ng mga tauhan ni Ferdinand Magellan na naganap ang Battle of Mactan kung saan namatay si Magellan. At itinanghal na bayani si Lapu-Lapu dahil sa pagtatanggol niya sa isla ng Pilipinas, kabahagi ang mga taga Mindanao sa tagumpay. Kaya po hindi katakataka na ang minamahal nating Pangulong Duterte ay taus-puso ang pagkilala kay Lapu-Lapu dahil hindi rin po nais ng ating mahal na Pangulo na patuloy tayong maapi sa hindi pagkilala sa kabayanihan ng buong Kabisayaan. At sa panahon natin na may kapayapaan, huwag nating kaligtaan ang pag-alala sa ating bayaning nagbuwis ng buhay alang-alang sa ating kapakanan. Bilang mambabatas, natutuwa po ako na makita na binibigyan natin ng tamang pagkakilala at parangal ang ating mga bayani tulad ni Lapu-Lapu at ang mga mandirigma ng Mactan. Karapat-dapat lang po na iangat natin ang katayuan ni Lapu-Lapu at ng mga taga-Mactan sa ating kasaysayan bukod sa siya ang pinakaunang naging bayani ng ating bansa. Siya rin po ang pinakaunang nakipaglaban para mapanatili ang kalayaan at pamumuhay nating mga Pilipino. Kaya naman po, nung simula pa lang ng termino ni Pangulong Duterte, pinirmahan niya po ang Executive Order number 17, Order of Lapu-Lapu bilang pagpupugay sa mga taong nagpamalas ng kakaibang tapang at galing tulad ng ating pinakaunang bayani. There are 4 types of medal. Ito pong magalong, ito po yung nagre-render po ng extraordinary service or exceptional contribution to the success of this of an activity or of this administration. Ito pong magalong medal, katumbas po ito ng valor or valor. Pangalawa, ito rin pong Kalasag Medal is for individuals who lost their lives or property due to their participation in an activity in line with the Duterte advocacy. Next is Kampilan Medal will be conferred to persons who are seriously injured due to their participation in such an activity or event. And lastly, ito pong Kamagi will go to those who contributed significantly to the success of an activity related to one of Duterte's campaign or advocacies. Ang pagdiriwang natin ngayon ay isa ring paalala sa bawat mamamayan, lalo na sa ating mga kabataan, na kung tayo po ay magtutulungan at magkaisa, walang kalaban ang hindi natin kayang talunin. Gaya na lang po ng laban natin sa pandemyang COVID-19, magtulungan lang po tayo, magbayanihan po tayo, magmalasakit po tayo sa ating kapwa. Kaya sana po ang tagumpay nila Lapu-Lapu at ng ating mga ninuno ay magsilbing inspirasyon sa ating lahat upang tayo ay magsama para lagpasan ang mga pagsubok na pinagdaraanan po natin ngayon. Alam niyo po, hindi po nakakatulong ang hindi po ito ang panahon ng pagsisisihan. Ito po ang panahon ng pagtutulungan. Bawat isa sa atin ay may tungkulin sa ating bayan. Kaya bilang mga tagapagmana ng kadakilaang ito, magkaisa po tayo para sa ikaunlad ng Pilipinas at para sa ikagaganda ng buhay ng bawat Pilipino. Kami po ni Pangulong Duterte, dakong garbo sa amo, ug andami mamatay nga nagaserbisyo sa amuang isig katao sa ating kapwa Pilipino. Tandaan natin, minsan lang po tayo dadaan sa mundong ito. Kung ano pong kabutihan, unsay kaayuhan na pwede nato buhaton sa atong isig katao, ato ng buhaton karon kay dili na ta mobalik aning kalibutan na. Kami ni Presidente Duterte, padayon may magserbisyo sa inyong tanan. Kay para sa amo, ang serbisyo sa tao, serbisyo na sa Ginoo. Daghang salamat, maayong buntag sa inyong tanan.
Thank you very much, Senator Bongko, for the message. In May 2018, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte created the National Quincentennial Committee by virtue of Executive Order Number 55. The said interagency committee is tasked to prepare the country in commemorating the 500th anniversary or quincentennial milestones such as the victory at Mactan, the Philippine part in the first circumnavigation of the world, and other related events. These are collectively known as the 2021 Quincentennial Commemorations in the Philippines. To introduce to us the guest of honor and speaker, may I call on Presidential Assistant for the Visayas, Secretary Michael Lloyd Dino.
As a lawyer, he started his profession by joining Accra Law and Pecabar Law offices in 1977 and 1983, respectively. In 1990, attorney Merialdea founded his own law office together with his colleagues, including Secretary of Justice Menardo Guevara, which is now popularly known as Medialdea, Ata, Bello, Guevara, and Suarez law offices. He then served the government as the Presidential Assistant for Political Affairs in the year 2000. Last June 30, 2016, he was appointed by President Rodrigo Roa Duterte as the Mayor President's Executive Secretary. Since then, he has been the chairman of different committees and organizations of the government. The notable ones would include being the chairman of President Duterte's transition team and the chairman of the ASEAN 2017 National Organizing Council. Due to his exceptional and meritorious service to the country, he has received several awards, including the prestigious Order of Sikatuna with the rank of Dato Katangiang Ginto, conferred to him by President Rodrigo Roa Duterte in 2018. It is my honor to introduce our chairperson for the National Quincentennial Committee, Executive Secretary Salvador C. Medialdea.
His Excellency Jorge Sanchez Moragas, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Senator Bongo, Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles, Presidential Spokesperson Harry Roque, Congresswoman Radasa, Mayor Ahong, Chairman Rene Escalante, Secretary Mike Dino, Postmaster General Norman Fulgencio, and General Angkan, fellow workers in government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am deeply honored to be with you today as we commemorate the 500th anniversary of three important events in our history. The victory of Mactan, the introduction of Christianity to our country, and the role of the Philippines in the first circumnavigation of the world. On the 27th of April 1521, our ancestors under the leadership of Lapu-Lapu gained battle scars during the Battle of Mactan. Their momentous victory on that date has become a perpetual symbol of our forefathers' heroism and bravery. While it happened in an age when our scattered islands were not yet united as one nation, the memory of that event has become our common heritage as a people. Indeed, by the time our founding fathers declared our independence in 1898, our victory in Mactan has become so central to our national consciousness that our Declaration of Independence mentioned Lapu-Lapu and his warriors among the historical precedents for the Philippine Revolution. The memory of Mactan remains as precious to us today as the day when our independence was first proclaimed. It was to further honor that memory that President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, through Proclamation number 1128, declared 2021 as the year of Filipino pre-colonial ancestors, and April 27 as a special working day throughout the country. 500 years ago, our ancestors were also introduced to Christianity. Since then, the Christian faith has become deeply ingrained in our customs, traditions, values, and heritage. The Philippines also became part of an exceptional achievement in science and humanity, namely the first circumnavigation of the world through our ancestors' hospitality and generosity to the Spanish expedition crew in Homonhon Island. The preparations for the celebration of these important events, however, were not easy. We met several challenges, including conflicting opinions on how to appropriately celebrate events which led to the colonization of our country. Thus, I commend my fellow National Quincentennial Committee members for adopting a Filipino-centric theme, which seeks to reignite the nationalism in every Filipino in a manner that is also relevant and relatable to the international community. Our President, through his Executive Order 103 Series of 2020, reminded us to commemorate this quincentennial milestone through our own lens and voice, underscoring the magnanimity, compassion, and humanity of our ancestors. Thus, for this 2021 quincentennial commemoration, we introduced the theme Victory and Humanity. Victory refers to Lapu-Lapu's triumph in the shores of Mactan and represents how the gallantry and spirit of freedom of our ancestors were passed on from one generation to another, which ultimately determined our destiny and history. Humanity, on the other hand, refers to the compassion, magnanimity exhibited by our ancestors to the starving, dehydrated, undernourished, and scurvy-stricken crew of the Magellan Elcano expedition. Instead of meeting them with hostility, our ancestors offered food and water, replenished their ship's provisions, and provided them with a safe haven to rest and regain their health. The spirit of humanity, or pakikipagkapwa-tao, is a core of Filipino trait that has transcended time. It has been observed in events throughout the years, such as when Aguinaldo and his men treated the Spanish prisoners of war with dignity. When we opened our doors to more than 1,000 Jewish refugees in the late 1930s, when we welcomed thousands of persecuted Russian refugees in 1949, and when we did the same thing for Vietnamese citizens who were fleeing from Vietnam War in the 1970s. Recently, our medical frontliners have been selflessly attending to the medical needs of those afflicted by COVID-19 in various parts of the world. All of these show that the magnanimity and kindness manifested by our ancestors 500 years ago remain in the blood of contemporary Filipinos. Allow me to end my speech by encouraging all of you to be in your own way a bayaning Pilipino sa makabagong panahon, especially in this time of pandemic. In our battle against COVID-19 and other ills of society, let us tread the footsteps of the unyielding warriors who rallied behind Lapu-Lapu and of our ancestors who showed kindness and compassion to those in need. For if we as a country remain united, we will always emerge victorious and suffer the same triumph experienced by Lapu-Lapu. Thank you and mabuhay ang sambayanang Pilipino. Mayong buntag sa inyong tanan.
Thank you so much, Executive Secretary Salvador C. Medialdea, the chairperson of the National Quincentennial Committee. Now may we request Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea to receive the token of appreciation from Mayor Junard Chan. Is the theme song of the 2021 Quincentennial commemorations in the Philippines. It is a manoble word for warrior or leader. The National Quincentennial Committee chose this as the theme song of the milestone as it captures the musical preference of the young Filipino population, yet respectful of the Filipino musical heritage. The song celebrates the heritage of nobleness and compassion in a Filipino, driving him or her to do great things for his or her people and the world as always. Singing for us the theme song for the pride of Lapu-Lapu City, Cebu, Mr. Vingineer Tan, Rona Jen Cañete, John Willis Tubalde, and Erneville Vincolado, medalists of the World Championships of Performing Arts. Ladies and gentlemen, Bagani, written and composed by Roel Rostada and arranged by Junji Marcelo with Cebuano translations by Dr. March Mandal and Dr. Jose Eleazar Bersales, rearranged especially for this occasion by Neil Salarda.
Ng tako sa iyo lang dahil pamalas ang albunan. Iyong tapang harapin ng buhay yaklahin ang tagumpay. Bunga ng kapatidyan, halata ng mata, dahil pagkata. Isipin mo sana ang sarili lang, sana bayanihan.
Gentlemen, Bagani, the theme song of the 2021 Quincentennial commemorations in the Philippines, interpreted by World Championships of Performing Arts medalist Mr. Vinjanier Tan, Rana Jean Cañete, John Willis Tubalde, and Erneville Vincolado. President Rodrigo Roa Duterte has been vocal in giving Lapu-Lapu a rightful place among the pantheons of Filipino heroes. Let us pay attention to our LED wall and listen to the message of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte for this National Day.
Five centuries ago, Lapu-Lapu and the brave warriors of Mactan fearlessly fought off foreign invaders who threatened their cherished way of life. They never cowered against the might of the enemy, and they bled in defense of their homeland. Today, we remember their gallantry by honoring the worthy heirs of Lapu-Lapu's legacy. Our medical and essential frontliners who, in face of danger posed by COVID-19 pandemic, continue to risk their own lives, to ensure the safety of their fellow Filipinos. Let us draw inspiration from the heroes of the past and present as we overcome pandemic and rebuild a stronger and more resilient nation. I wish everyone a meaningful commemoration. Mabuhay ang sangbayanang Pilipino. Mabuhay ang idol kong si Lapu-Lapu.
It has been a tradition every April 27 here at the Liberty Shrine to reenact the victory of our ancestors against the intrusion of Ferdinand Magellan in the life and social order in the Visayas. In celebration of the 500th anniversary of the victory of Lapu-Lapu in the Battle of Mactan, we proudly present Victory at Mactan!
Maayong pagtimbaya, mga dumuduo. Dayot kamo sa atong kasaulugan. Atong balitan-an ug sa ulugon ang usa kadakong kadaugan, 5 kadatos na katuigan na ang nilabay. Kadaugan, batok sa mga langyaw, dinhi sa Mactan. Siya si Fernando Magallanes, ang langyaw nga padala sa Espanya. Pag-abot sa mga langyaw sa atong yuta, gusto nilang muampo kita sa ilang bandila o magpaubos sa ilang tinuuhan. Siya usab si Humabon, ang nangulo sa Subo. Siya ang unang maminahot o kibunyagan sa lulong Kristyanismo ubos ni Fernando Magallanes. Nagtungo si Magallanes na makatapang si Humabon sa pag-abdi sa bandang kadaguan na muampo sa Espanya. Apan, sa kanhing panahon, abante na ang isla sa Mactan kaadunay na kadaiyang kamabuhian.
Oh,
Hilabay ta ang pipila ka panahon. Isip pagtuman sa mando ni Fernando Magallanes. Dito sa Buaya, gisulong sa mga langyaw Spanyoles ang atong mga igsuon. Gisunog nila ang atong mga anito. Tungod lang kay dili mo yukbo sa Kristyanismo.
Kung tinguha sa mga Espanyoles na kita mo hangop sa ilang tinuhuang Kristyanismo, nganong ilang magsunugon ang atong mga balangay? Hinaot na silutan sila ni Kaptan ang kahitasan sa kapupudan aron sa pagpanimalus sa ilang kabangis. O hinaot na silutan sila ni Sipala o Parayason pinaagi sa iyang hinagiban sa kamatayon. Tabangan nato sila.
Kami sa kasuguan ni Fernando Magallanes. Kinahanglan na kamong muhangop sa reliyong Kristyanismo o kinahanglan usab kamong muyugbo sa Haring Espanya o magbayad o buhis.
Hugok! Balik sa inyong amo nga buwang! Ina siya na wala ko yukbuan ni bisag kinsang hari! Katungod kong panaliktan ang akong mga gingsagupan! Ina siya nga anda magpumagigubak kaniya! Layas na! Mag-andam kita alang sa nagong gubak!
Namdagi kami kahangina.
ang yuta at ang linapigan!
Mabuhi!
Mabuhi ang katawhan!
Mabuhi! Mabuhi si Lapu-Lapu! Mabuhi! Mabuhi si Lapu-Lapu! Mabuhi!
Mabuhi ang Mactan!
Mabuhi!
Happy 500th anniversary of the victory at Mactan! Ladies and gentlemen, our performers! victory at Mactan. We shall see you tonight for the Quincentennial Evening Show here at the Liberty Shrine. Daghang salamat ug mayong buntag kanatong tanan. Photo opportunity. We would like to request our officials to please join join our on stage for the photo opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, today's overall artistic director is engineer Patricio Junje Primor. Directed by Rudy Avalos. And in behalf of Miss Earth 2008, your voiceover, this is June Rabin saying, Happy 500th quintessential anniversary! The Lapu-Lapu City officials, the councilors will have a photo op together with our performers.
Tulungan ang kapwa't bigyang halaga, huwag hatakin ng pababa. Isipin huwag sana ang sarili lang, pakisama bayanihan. Subukan nating isulong at ligawan ng magandang bukas. Ikaw at ako magkasama tayo sa labanan ng kinabukasan.
After the photo op with the Lapu-Lapu officials, production staff will also have a photo together with the performers.
Bayaning Pilipino sa makabago.